right, guys. Next up from AYRO, we've got Rod Keller, President and CEO. Rod, hey, welcome back.
Thank you.
I'm doing great. It's good to see you again.
You.
I don't want to eat up too much of your time because I know you've got a presentation for everyone. So I'll let you get right into it.
Greetings, and thank you again for the opportunity and interest to everybody listening in to learn more about AYRO. First, real quickly, let me just give you some information around capitalization so you understand how well capitalized we are. We trade on the NASDAQ. Stocks trading today a little over $5. About 35 million shares we have outstanding. Market cap's around $200 million. Almost no debt, $21,000 of debt, and we've raised over $100 million since last June, sitting on $93 million on our balance sheet right now, and our fiscal year aligns with the calendar year as well. Here we go. We were a company founded in 2017, and we are headquartered in Austin, Texas. What we do is we build purpose-built electric vehicles. They are automotive-grade vehicles, street-legal electric vehicles, primarily used for last-mile delivery, micro-distribution, low-speed logistics, cargo services, mobile hospitality, one of the fastest-growing markets we have on university campuses, stadiums, government facilities. And we are growing very quickly in that space. In fact, if you listen to our 10K back at the end of March, we grew 80% over 2019. We have an exclusive relationship with Club Car. Club Car is a subsidiary of Ingersoll Rand to help U.S. organizations transition from gas to electric over the next 5 years. And of Club Car's dealer footprint, we do business with 167 of their commercial dealerships in the U.S. and Canada. What that means is basically 167 of their dealers have the right to sell our vehicle into a number of the different commercial applications that we'll talk about. Last September, we announced a strategic partnership with Karma Automotive, their Innovation and Customization Center. And what they bring to us is a strategic engineering, design, and manufacturing services. And they will very soon build our next generation light duty electric truck. Here we go. And we're excited about that. The partnership gives us the capacity to build up to 20,000 light duty trucks and EVs over the next 3 years. In Austin, at our headquarters, we expanded our facility in Austin to build up to 600 vehicles per month. And we've delivered over 200 electric vehicles to date, but even 600 a month is not enough to support the demand that we expect to reach fairly soon. Since joining the NASDAQ late last May, I mentioned that we've raised a little more than $100 million, and I mentioned that we basically have no debt. One of the things I'd really like to reemphasize is the importance of the partnership that we have with Element Fleet Management that we announced in March. This partnership allows us to offer commercial customers end-to-end fleet management services that are critical in financing and servicing commercial fleets. If you've not heard of Element Fleet Management, they used to be part of GE. And they're the largest fleet management company in the world, managing close to 100,000 of the Amazon vans that we see driving all over the country every day, making literally millions of deliveries. Very quickly share with you, I've been doing this quite a while. This is absolutely one of the best management teams that I have ever had. We've got a combination of executives with backgrounds in automotive engineering, rapid product transition, high volume manufacturing, international sourcing, and one of the key ones is operational efficiency. I'm a firm believer that if you lead in operational efficiency, then you can decide any day, do you want to price for market share? Do you want to price for profitability? I learned that from the number of years I had at Dell when we grew $10 billion over the time that I was there. We're well aware of the importance of focusing on growth in the early stage industry and believe we're well on our way to achieve this. But competent management, operational efficiency, and adequate capital are all required for success. And we believe we've got all of those key components in place now. We like to describe ourselves as a disruptor among EV companies. And where we do really well is we thrive where commercial customers don't need, nor do they wish to pay for all the features of a traditional automobile. And the chart illustrates that we provide that what we like to say is the missing bridge between entry-level EVs, like the prior presenter, in the form of scooters and electric motorcycles, and the other end of the spectrum with mini EVs with some of the same specs as gasoline-powered vehicles. We do very, very well in that midpoint, and that's why I think we don't have as much competition yet, but I think we're leading in that space. We're going to work very hard to continue to lead in that space. This next chart is a good example of what I just described. This illustrates the primary advantages of our light-duty electric truck you see on the right there. In a campus application, when it's compared to a typical full-size truck like a Ford F-150. Most often, we win where we are replacing a gas or a diesel-powered pickup truck or van. And with that, we have very specific physical, economic, and environmental advantages. From a physical perspective, our vehicle is 30% more narrow in width, allowing it to traverse narrow passageways and use it not only outdoors, but indoors as well. It also has a 38% better turning radius, thus giving it much improved maneuverability compared to a full-size truck. And lastly, the overall volume is reduced by almost 50% when compared to a gas vehicle, thus allowing you to drive most anywhere, anytime. It makes parking a whole lot easier, particularly colleges like that, because they want to be able to drive on the grass and jump a curb. They don't want to be limited to just the streets there. And the economic advantage is quite significant, and in many cases is the initial reason why customers have chosen our campus solution. Many customers see as much as a 49% reduction in their operating expense per vehicle per year. And obviously the last one with our offering, customers can see 100% reduction in CO2 emissions. So in summary, the physical, economic, and environmental reasons for this solution versus gas is compelling, and exactly why you're seeing a rapid adoption of electric vehicles, particularly in some of the segments that we talked about. We build both a light-duty electric truck, and as you'll see on the right there, a three-wheeled electric vehicle. And the light-duty truck we talked already a little bit about, and we're in development of our next generation three-wheeled EV. Our light-duty truck is designated as an LSV, meaning a low-speed vehicle. It's street legal, but it's limited to 25 miles an hour and only on streets with speed limits of no more than 35 miles an hour, which makes it actually the perfect vehicle for campus deliveries, security, catering, housekeeping, moving, typical things that you would use a vehicle for, but not needing 400 miles of range and driving 70 miles an hour. The size of the low-speed vehicle market is forecasted to grow at almost 16% compounded annual growth and get to $7.4 billion by 2024. Here are some specs on both of these vehicles, and I'll talk about the one on the right here in a second. The one on the left is marketed under the Club Car brand. We build it, of course, it's our vehicle, as the Club Car 411. It's street legal, as I mentioned, on roads up to 35 miles an hour. It speeds up to 25. It's got 50 miles of range, which may not sound like a lot, except when you think about it, it's just being used around a typical campus. It takes recharging, it takes up to 6 to 8 hours, but it's using a standard 120 20 amp outlet, not a type 2 charger required. However, our next generation truck will see an improvement in range and a reduction in charging time. And you'll see that truck here in the next, I can't tell you when we're going to announce it because Club Car is going to announce it because it'll have a Club Car brand on it, but we're excited about it. The vehicle on the right is the AYRO 311. We're working on the next generation vehicle for that, designed as a quick service delivery and last mile services vehicle, growing in popularity with restaurants. And this is an important one to understand. Growing very, very quickly, interest with restaurants who want to retake control from delivery companies like Uber Eats, Grubhub, and DoorDash. And it's because those aggregators take as much as 30% of the ticket. So restaurants are also interested in retaking control of their customer experience and the data collected around the delivery that they give up to these aggregators today. And somebody asked me earlier if I thought delivery was going to go back to what it was pre-COVID. I don't believe that at all. In fact, I think delivery is here to stay. It's going to continue to be a much bigger piece of a restaurant's revenue versus what it was pre-COVID. Let me share with you some other applications for our light-duty truck. We believe we developed the nation's first electric vaccination vehicle and mobile hospitality vehicle. We announced the EVV on March the 8th, and its EVV, as we like to call it, is designed to meet the needs of on-demand and mobile clinics for the distribution of COVID-19 testing and administration of the COVID vaccine. The EVV is outfitted with medical-grade equipment. It meets the CDC guidelines and can store as many as 200,000 vials of the vaccine. Again, the fact that it is fully integrated and self-contained and compact in size allows it to not only reach people who may not be able to get to a vaccination center, but it can also be parked indoors in places like a gymnasium because it does not emit any CO2 emissions. Now, if you look at the vehicle on the right, our mobile hospitality vehicle, growing in popularity, particularly on university campuses, sports stadiums, and anywhere food and beverage is needed without forcing consumers into the large dining halls or places where they have to congregate in large crowds. Vehicle's very customizable, growing rapidly. Don't think of it as your traditional vehicle you see with people cooking inside of it. It's more of a vehicle that is populated with coffee, bagels, sandwiches, most any prepackaged food to a number of different customer segments. And now, because the universities know exactly when kids are coming out of class, they can park one of these vehicles. In fact, I talked to Einstein Bagels. They said they did 60 transactions in 15 minutes. I said, well, that's one every 15 seconds. They said, yeah, it's all prepackaged coffee, bagel, sandwiches. They grab it, run their student ID to pay for it. And they said it's paying for itself in 4 months, this vehicle. Recent strategic investments we've had, let me share that with you. In November of last year, we raised $10 million. Now, it was led by Carnegie Hudson Resources, which won't mean anything to you until I tell you that they are the investment arm of Wanchong America, which is a subsidiary of Wanchong Group, Chinese conglomerate, about an $80 billion company, and owner of Karma Automotive. Now, Karma Automotive, if you remember the luxury EV called Fisker went under, Wang Chung bought it and rebranded it Karma. So Wang Chung, in effect, made the investment in us through its investment arm, Carnegie Hudson Resources. And Karma is now, as I mentioned earlier, building one of our current vehicles, and we're talking to them about building additional vehicles. Wing Chung also owns A123 Systems, a developer of EV batteries and a supplier to automotive manufacturers worldwide. So with that relationship, you might expect, what's the most expensive component in an electric vehicle? It's the battery. And if you've got relationships in a supply chain perspective with supply chain, contract manufacturing, engineering design, product development, telematics, and a battery supplier, we're in a much better position than you would expect for a company as early stage as we are. As I mentioned, this investment further strengthens our relationship with Karma, provides access to the batteries I described from A123. This is exciting. One of the reasons why we chose to partner with Club Car. People may not realize that there are 1,800 universities with at least 10,000 students and have at least 400 vehicles. And all 1,800 of these universities have published sustainability initiatives with plans to convert their gas fleets to electric over the next 5 years. That translates to over 500,000 vehicles that these 1,800 universities are going to convert from gas to electric. That's over 100,000 vehicles. And the dominant supplier of utility vehicles to the universities is Club Car. Not a surprise, but you've got to remember Club Car, many of you know it as a golf car manufacturer, but it's far more than that. It is a large manufacturer and supplier of also a lot of commercial utility vehicles. And this 411 that they sell of ours is complementary to anything else they make. So it's not a competitive product, anything they sell. And we're excited about it now, particularly as universities are coming back online and students are coming back to the universities. I want to talk about food delivery for just a minute. And all the numbers I'm showing you on this chart are pre-COVID numbers. Food delivery has become the fastest growing segment of the restaurant industry. And as I mentioned, that was even pre-COVID. And one of the few silver linings of COVID was the acceleration in the mix between food delivery and in-restaurant dining. And I think we all lived through it. So as the mix of revenues quickly accelerated delivery and reduced in-restaurant dining, restaurants were and still are faced with how to address the margin compressing cost of doing business with the aggregators, Grubhub, Uber Eats, DoorDash. A lot of people may not realize those aggregators take as much as 30% of that ticket. So when delivery increases from a single digit percentage of your total revenue to 30, 40, 50%, all of a sudden you got real margin problems. We were already in development of building a purpose-built restaurant delivery vehicle focused on reducing cost and, as I mentioned, improving restaurant control of customer experience, customer data collection, and the opportunity for mobile advertising before COVID hit. So I like to say the market moved faster and it came to us. We're excited about this. And I don't believe anyone, and I'm confident about this because we look at this market 24/7. I don't believe anyone else is taking our approach, but rather building general purpose vehicles and then trying to find applications for them. We take a very different approach. We start with understanding the problems, and then we build solutions to specifically address them. I mentioned in an earlier call today, restaurant delivery, believe it or not, it's a pre-COVID number, is projected to grow to $200 billion by 2025, as I mentioned, pre-COVID, and it may come even faster, and it may be even bigger than that. This chart simply reflects some of the uses we already talked about. I'll just kind of summarize them. These are use cases for EVs. As a reminder, we built the ecosystem needed to support commercial fleets with partnerships like Element Fleet Management. Without that, it's just not possible to scale. It's just not. Top left, again, that our light duty electric truck for use in moving cargo. Our electric vaccination vehicle kind of speaks for itself. Again, we only launched this March the 8th. You see our three-wheeled vehicle for restaurant delivery. We're in development of the next generation and well under our way. And then, of course, the last one, bottom right, our mobile hospitality vehicle for the supply of food and beverage to the masses without forcing them into tight quarters like dining halls. This is a quote from Club Car, from one of the executives at Club Car, on why they like us. I'll let you read it, but in essence, we help Club Car get to market with complementary solutions, and we do it faster and less expensive than they can do it with their traditional business. It's a very strong relationship. I expect it to expand overseas next year. Our business could not be healthier, and the level of relationships is all the way to the president level, because he's told me a number of times he likes the fact that we help them get to new markets with new products, and they use their core infrastructure for their core products. So they're trying to push as many products through us as they can, because it helps them get to new markets and doing it much faster than they could do it themselves. Quickly, financial results, recent company highlights. Only revenues of $1.6 million last year. Much of that was a function of limited supply. Adjusted EBITDA loss of just under $8 million. But I'd like to remind everyone, it's important to understand we're building and developing vehicles, which are far more capital intensive than an early stage company writing software. I love the fact that there's barriers that this creates, because we believe we've passed those barriers and we're well on our way to rapid execution of our strategy. We've got the team, the understanding, basically no debt. We're a public company, easy to raise money, but we don't need to raise money. Let me reiterate that. We've got almost $100 million. We are very, very well capitalized. I have no plans right now to go raise any more money. If we do, it would only be to expand to other geographies or to expand the product portfolio we got. But right now, we feel very comfortable that we are very well capitalized. I mentioned no debt. We had $36 million in place at the end of last year, but I mentioned we raised another almost 62 in the first 2 months. The partnership we've got with Karma, the investment from Wayne Chung. I'll tell you this, there was a press release issued last fall, the receipt of orders for approximately almost 600,000 for the initial mobile hospitality. We sold through all of those, and we've received additional orders as well. The announcement of the partnership with Element Fleet Management, it's hard to describe how meaningful, how important that relationship is to us. And to date, we still believe we're the only ones that have delivered the first electric vaccination vehicle, and we expect that to be received very well. Already is. As you might expect, selling the federal government's a longer sales cycle, but with Element's help, we believe there's a lot of opportunity there.
Rod, you answered the question I was just about to ask, and we are at time, so I got to thank you for that presentation, my friend.
Okay, I try to go quick so I can leave time for questions. I apologize.
It's all right. Where can folks find more from you if they have any more questions?
Yeah, AYRO.com, or you can send it to investors@AYRO.com. Those come directly to a number of us, but I get them too. I see them and I answer every one of them.
Amazing. That's what you like to see in a company. And I think that a lot of investors and retailers forget that they can message the management. Sure. So that's great, Rod. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.